And so it took us a really long time just to realize like we both had a completely different outlook on what needed to be done in the business, and coming together on those is really important.
Kelly, you've kind of taken us from all the way moving 13 different times, being raised with a corporate mentality, going to college thinking you were going to get a corporate job that was going to last you the rest of your life, to marrying this amazing guy who lights you up and gets you to dream the entrepreneurial dream. You start a business, you start serving just women. You're where you are today. I want to talk a little bit about being married to an entrepreneur and how that is, because I think this can be a huge challenge and a huge blessing. And for all the entrepreneur couples out there or business owners who are listening, I'd love to talk a little bit just about your side of that journey, because when you got married, you were definitely corporate and he was definitely not. Yeah. How did you guys not fight about that? How did you just tell me a little bit, and I'll pull some things out as we go.
Yeah, totally. That's such a good question, because it has evolved like everything has. I mean, we've been married for 15 years, and just like a marriage evolves, you know, I look at pictures of us when we were first married and I think we're just different people. We've grown, and so has kind of our entrepreneurial journey, right? Of what I thought it would be like working together when we first started the business. I never will forget that when we started our business, about 8 months into it, we did a one-day deal with Living Social. I think Jay talked about this. We had 770 leads coming in, and I'm returning every single email. And I had to go down to my corporate job, and I said to Jay, could you just take over for a minute and return some of these emails and book them into classes? And he looked at the computer like, what are you talking about? This is not what I do. I talk about things and I dream about strategy and I do all that. I don't return emails. I can't do it. I can't sit in front of a computer and return these emails. And I was blown away because I didn't think about strategy or the dream. I wanted him to do that. And I wanted to just like, let's just get this stuff done, right? And so it took us a really long time just to realize like we both had a completely different outlook on what needed to be done in the business, and coming together on those is really important. We had to see each other's point of view and know that they're both valid. Does that make sense? Like, know that we
Absolutely.
both brought something to the table. However, you know, people listening that are moms and are married and work and all of those things, they can also probably understand that as women in general, like this is just something I believe, is that we all take on too much. We just do. Like I think that it starts with having kids and the baby being so completely dependent on the mother for survival, that a lot of times as women, it doesn't matter if we have to go to the bathroom. It doesn't matter if we haven't showered in 3 days. If the baby needs to be fed or eat or whatever, we put all of our needs on the back burner and we just do it. Whereas it's sometimes a little bit different with men, and especially, right, it's just, it kind of goes into that I just kept taking on more and more and more and more in the business, right? And so after several years, I would hear Jay start to dream, and Jay always has a dream, right? Oh, you know what we should do? And I'm like, no, don't tell me anymore. I don't want to hear anything else that we should do, because it makes me feel like then I have to immediately go and figure out how to make that happen. And so when I talked about how I came into my journey of just learning way better boundaries, I really had to do that with him too. But it's not about changing who he is. It's just changing about how I react to who he is.
So there's that word react again.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm trying to think how to phrase this correctly. You can either react to a situation, right? Or you can build. There's another word for it. Like, reacting is a gut level response where you're triggered by something and it's not thought through.
Right.
Or you can think through how you should respond to something. That's
yes. So I always say it's being intentional, like how I want to intentionally show up, right? Like, And that's huge, because that changes the course of a conversation, right? And we just had this recently where we were driving back from a morning of surfing, and I'm not always in the mindset of wanting to brainstorm, different business ideas. And Jay kind of is. He would love, I mean, if all day long, all we ever did, and it doesn't matter. Sometimes we'll be in the middle of breakfast with the kids and he's like, it'd be a great business idea. And I'm like, maybe not right now. Like, can we just not, like, right now? But he had this great idea and he just went on and he was talking about all of these things. And I had no response. I just didn't, right? Like it took me just kind of listening. And he's like, so what do you think? And I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure right now. I need to process this one a little bit. I really don't know what to say. I don't know if you're like asking for my help on something, or I don't know if this is just something that you're trying to process, right? So I think it comes down to like knowing ourselves, knowing that other person, respecting who they are, and also setting up what's the ideal role in all of it that you want to take. Like knowing, for me, it came from knowing what sort of boundaries I had to put up to be able to like listen to him dream and not think that it meant that I had to do something about it.
Well, I think that's the key, right? Like you're supporting him, which is really what he needs is listening. He needs somebody to hear him. He doesn't necessarily need you to do something. I think if he did, he would ask you.